So this is kind of like a rant kind of video that I've been wanting to make for a while, and I was like, oh, it's October, it's about the ghost type, spooky month, it kind of lines up. Um, so ghost type in Pokemon, you know it, you love it. Got something like the coolest Pokédex entry, it's creepiest at least, and it's just it's a really cool type, and I like it, but it really should have been immune to the psychic type. Um, so I'm gonna go for like in-law reasons. So basically, like when with the psychic type, there's like two main things they attack. Methods of using their psychic power that they attack you with. Firstly, is like telekinesis by um, picking up objects with their psychic powers and throwing them at you. Yeah, do I really need to explain why throwing stuff at a ghost type isn't really gonna work? I mean, their body would phase through, which kind of really means that they should be immune to all physical attacks, but that would be a bit too OP. But also, that's kind of also their thing. Like they all you're in a haunted house and it's a trope that the plates and stuff starts getting chucked at you, like furniture floating and stuff. That's their whole the whole deal, but that's kind of their thing. And the next way psychic types attack here is using the psychic powers on your mind to kind of confuse, disorientate, and hurt you and stuff. And it's kind of like ghosts don't have minds though. Like they are incorporeal beings. They do not have a brain. They do not have a heart. They don't have lungs. So that if you tried to do that to a ghost, it would do nothing. And yeah, and if you even in the real world, have you ever seen a movie with ghosts in it where the ghosts are defeated by a psychic, bending that's just not really a thing in fiction, and it's just it kind of doesn't really make sense for psychic type to affect ghost type, but in the lore. And then with the game mechanics, going back to Gen 1, when both of these types were both added, there was a bug that psychic was immune to ghost and not weak to ghost. That's a bug that doesn't really matter. But the only three psychic ghost types in Generation 1 were Ghastly, Haunter, and Gengar. And all three of them were also part poison, completely defeating the point of having them, because the entire point of having the Ghastly, Haunter, and Gengar was that ghost counted psychic, that they were supposed to be there to keep psychic in check. But adding the poison type onto them made them weak to psychic, meaning that they could not check any psychic types. Also, psychic ghost being a physical type and that line being a special attacker did not help in the slightest. That's another rant for another day. Actually, I might just rant about that quickly in the video. But yeah. But if you make ghost type immune to psychic type, then it doesn't matter that they're part poison because they're immune to it. So it means that they can switch in on a psychic type, and if ghost wasn't a physical type, and if psychic also wasn't immune to ghost, then they could use their shadow balls or whatever. And was shadow ball in Gen? No, I don't think was it in Gen 1? I can't remember if it was in Gen 1. Gen 1 didn't have many ghost type moves. I know I had Nightshade and Lick. I'm not 100% sure about Shadow Ball. I think he had Shadow Ball. Anyway. But yeah, it's just just being able to switch in and threaten the psychic types out would just made Ghastly, Haunter, and Gengar so much more viable. And it would have just curved the power of the psychic types so much better. In Gen 1, psychic types ruled the roost. Mewtwo, the most powerful Pokemon in Gen 1. No arguments about it. The only Pokemon that even comes close to that is Mew, and that's mainly because of its versatility rather than pure power. Mind you, that's not to say Mewtwo itself is not versatile. They just kind of really needed to just deal a bunch of damage because it didn't really need to do much else. It was only until later gens where it needed to diversify and change up its act a bit to remain viable. And then you also had like Alakazam, who is arguably the second most powerful Pokemon. Again, is Mew the second most powerful, or is it's basically fighting for this. There's a bit of a fight for the second most powerful Pokemon in Gen 1, between Mew and Alakazam, and just like making Ghost types immune to Psychic type attacks. That would have just like that means that Mewtwo's main form of damage would just be useless, and as well as Alakazam and Mew, because they all use Psychic, because nothing in Gen 1 is immune to Psychic, so they just spam Psychic until they won. But if Ghost type was immune to Psychic, they couldn't just spam Psychic, so they would have to come up with something else. Like they'd probably have to use maybe like Earthquake, which a ground type attack, which Alakazam couldn't do because its attack is abysmal. Mewtwo and Mew could pull off, but it also means that the amnesia says wouldn't be any good. Like you could probably like try and power through it again with amnesia and like Ice Beam or Thunderbolt, or hopefully 1 in 10 freeze chance with Ice Beam, which is basically just what everybody does against Mewtwo right now. And I just really feel like it would just made the game so much more balanced. And I've just never heard anybody ever really talk about how Ghost types really should have been immune to Psychic type attacks. And I just thought, yeah, if nobody else is going to make a video about this, I might as well. And speaking more than that, but yeah. Tell me, what do you think? Do you agree with me that Ghost types should be immune to Psychic types, or do you disagree? And let me know why down in the comment section below. I always like reading other people's comments. Sometimes I get some really good comments. I think that have really cool ideas I've not thought of. But yeah, let me know down in the comment section below. And real quick, if you want to listen to this quickly or rant, why was Ghost type physical? Like the only Ghost types we had were special attackers. Why did they make it physical? That was probably the dumbest thing Game Freak's ever done. Anyway, quick rant over. Have a good one, and bye-bye.